Good girl. Good girl. That's a good girl. Hey folks, what I want to talk about today is discuss a little bit about what we've been doing with this horse and why, and also going to morph into another subject I want to talk about. I just barely scratched the surface of it years ago in another video, and we haven't been doing a whole lot with this horse. We've done a little desensitizing, taught her to move off a suggestion, things like that, and as it turns out, we also discovered this horse knows a lot. She'll yield, she'll disengage, she'll back, she'll do all kinds of neat stuff. Doesn't seem to be particularly responsive to subtle cues, although she's learning really quick to move off suggestion. And mostly I want to learn exactly where she's at. I want to figure out how much she knows and what her state is. Now, we already know she's a little bit worried. That's okay. That's good. We already got that part figured out. That was easy. But we also are trying to find out just what the threshold is. And that way we can help her if we know where not to cross the line, which is kind of what I want to talk about. Now, see, where she is right now, how she got there, I don't know. That's a lot of speculation. We don't have a whole lot of history on this horse. Maybe somebody went a little too quick. Maybe their aids were a little too harsh, or their cues a little too harsh or something. Or maybe they didn't do enough desensitizing. I really don't know. It's all speculation. But the important part is to figure out exactly where she's at right now so that we can help her. And that's what we want to do. And so we've only had, 3 years. Well, this will be the 4th session, I guess, with her. And it's mostly been a process of discovery, trying to find out exactly where she's at, what she knows, and that way we can kind of determine how we can help her. And this is where I'll get into what I want to talk about as far as the subject matter goes, is the line. I want to find out where the line is, and I'll explain that. See, I said in another video that it's my responsibility not to push the horse to the point where it freaks out, because at that point, there's no good comes of it. In some cases, it could be downright dangerous if the horse, strikes, bites, kicks, or something like that. It can kill you. At the very least, it's not learning anymore once you cross the line, and chances are you're going to go backwards a little bit. And I want to explain that a little more. You see, I believe there's a line that you do not want to cross. You got to find it, though, and we found it with this one online. We had her walking, no problem, changing direction, turn in, got her up to a trot, and then I could see the head came up a tiny bit. She was a little bit more uptight and nervous, and if you're watching close in this at the beginning here, oh, by the way, this is something I normally wouldn't recommend, and I wouldn't normally try, but the round pen is outside. It's middle of winter, and it's we can't use it right now. So I just had a good feeling about the potential of this horse, what we could do with her, and I decided to give it a whirl. And the arena is obviously a lot bigger than a round pen, but it worked. I knew we could do it, but at the same, even offline, we noticed that walk, no problem. Once we got up to a trot, you could see she was a little bit nervous. So that's where we stopped. We did not cross the line, because that's where the line was. We could have asked for a canter, but it wouldn't have done any good. She probably would have had a fit and got real nervous and worried, a little bit worried. That's okay, but we don't want her to have an all-out meltdown on us. That's where the line is. We do not want to cross the line. And here is my theory, and this is, again, with my videos, I say, I don't expect you to believe what I believe. I'm not trying to change minds. What I am trying to do is get you to think. And this is my theory. I want you to think about it. I don't care if you do it my way or not. This is how I do things. I believe it's my responsibility never to push that horse to the point where it has meltdown or freak out or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to cross that line. So on an ongoing basis, and that line may move from day to day too. So I got to find out where that line is and make a point of never crossing it. Because, if the line is here, I want to get as close to it as I can so that it keeps inching over gradually. Each day, that line moves over a tiny bit, and we can push that horse just a little bit more, and that's when it grows and improves. But if I cross that line is going to suddenly jump back. Not only that, but if I cross the line, the horse is going to have a meltdown, and at which point it stops learning. I'm not helping that horse one little bit. I'm actually going to be detrimental to that horse's welfare if I cross that line, and it's going to really set me back. So that's the whole thing. Is I believe in time. That line will move every time you inch up to it, and you have to, you want to get as close as you can, but you do not want to cross that line, because once you cross it, it's counterproductive. You're not helping the horse, you're not doing any good, and depending on the horse, it could potentially be dangerous to do that. So we don't want to do that, but we got to find out where the line is, and some days that line will go backwards too. So you got to be constantly watching on a daily basis to figure out where the line is, but what we've been doing with this one for the last few days is basically finding out where the line is in general. I mean, it's going to vary a little bit from day to day. I've been noticing that even from one day to the next, we haven't been doing any really intense work with her, but she's already getting a lot mellower. And even from beginning to end of session, she gets much mellower. Even after about 5-10 minutes in here with me, she just chills out. And I've been noticing, like I've noticed today when I brought her in here, she was just far better than she was the last couple times I brought her in. She's just making amazing progress. So, but we're still going to have to check every day and figure out where that line is. We got a pretty good idea where it is now, so that's going to help us get started. But on a daily basis, you're still going to have to figure out where that line is, and you don't want to cross it. Like I said, if you cross it, bad things can happen that can potentially be dangerous, and at the very least, that horse is going to stop learning once you cross the line, and that line may move backwards, so you don't want to do that. But if you inch up to that line every day, get the horse a tiny bit worried, but not too much, not have a meltdown. Pretty soon that line moves. The horse figures out, hey, being a little bit worried isn't a bad thing. I can deal with this. Basically, it's something I don't have to get worried about, whatever the case is. So find the line and don't cross it. That's the message of today. Have a good day.